Hey guys, and good afternoon. Oh man, it is Monday. It's the last Monday in April. It is May already. Um, I don't know. I just feel like this year is going kind of fast to me. Maybe because my days are all a blur. But welcome, welcome to the Lunchish Live Show, the last one in April. My name's Latanya. I'm a personal one-on-one wellness coach. And this is the Lunches Live Show where I just kind of talk a little bit about being a single mom of twin tots and how to move through a major transition, because that's what I help with. I help single moms move through a major transition. So Lunchish is the time of the show because I am a single mom of twin tots. And I just don't know exactly when their nap time is going to be. So I made the time lunchish. And then I usually just shoot out an email. And the email just says exactly what time I'll be able to jump on. It's usually like maybe a half hour after they officially doze off. Usually that's when it is. But this week I was kind of jumping on and I wanted to talk about the grieving process, because that was a part of my major transition, and it just seemed kind of appropriate with this weekend, or this past Friday, being that 1 year mark of when he passed away. So Friday, I didn't know what to expect on Friday. Like, was I going to be really sad, or was I just going to be, kind of remembering all these good times, or like, what was that going to look like? And Friday honestly looked like most of the other days. I was probably more sad like Monday and Tuesday going in than I was on Friday itself. Friday was just, it honestly just felt like another day in this journey of grieving. And it has nothing to do with whether I miss him or anything, because I miss him every single day. And it didn't have anything to do with how strong I am. Because a lot of times I feel I'm at my strongest when I allow myself to be vulnerable enough to just cry and to just kind of grieve and go through whatever emotion that I'm feeling at the time. But I do think that where I was Friday was just a part of the process. It was that new normal that, this is my life now. This is the everyday, that every day that I don't see him, or don't wake up to him, or don't go to sleep to him, or, the twins do something and he's not there. I can't even call him to tell him, oh my gosh, guess what the baby did today. So that's just my new normal, and I think that's what Friday was. But I was able to kind of get through it because I've kind of gone through the grieving. I've allowed myself, I should say, to go through that grieving process. So I want to talk a little bit about that today, and kind of what that looked like, and what it felt like, I guess. So it's like I call them 5 general stages of grief, because I think there's I think there's 7, but it's like 5 general stages. And, that first one, probably the most obvious would be like the denial, which is kind of like that shock. It's like that, oh no, this can't be happening. Like, it almost feels surreal. Like, there's no way this is happening. It's crazy. And, denial is that initial stage that your mind kind of goes through, almost to help soften the blow. Like, we can't process this right now. Like, do not try to process this whole thing right now. So there's this denial, like, no, this isn't happening. This can't be. And I think most of us go through that during some type of loss. The second stage in that 5 tier will kind of be the anger, and we can experience that anger. It could look like being angry at a doctor for not doing more. It could be angry at whatever the condition, like maybe if it was icy outside, oh, I'm angry with the city workers for not cleaning the streets well, or whatever the case is. Like it's some type of anger. Maybe you're angry with even a week or two after the loss, you're angry with somebody who didn't come to the funeral, or you're angry with somebody that didn't call to check on you. Like there's an anger that kind of sets in. Like you need to place, like almost if you can place the blame, it'll ease how you feel a little more. And that's absolutely a stage. Just kind of feel like you need somebody, like you almost like you need to bring somebody to, like you need justice in this, but it manifests in anger. Regardless of how the person passed or what happened, it can manifest in anger. Bargaining is kind of like that what if. So if someone maybe passed of a terminal illness, even before they're gone, sometimes we bargain. Oh my goodness, if you, God, if you will fix everything and make them well and, not let them die, I will. Like you literally throw out like a bargain. And even if it's not in the case of a terminal illness, sometimes it's a lot of regret. It's like the guilt, the what ifs. I could have done, I should have done, I might have done, they could have done. Like it's a lot of regrets in that bargaining stage. And although like when you see the grieving process listed, it's almost listed like linear. Like this is where you start and this is where you end. But what I've learned is it's not linear at all. The stages are in responses to how you're feeling that day. So you could wake up and kind of feel like, I'm well on my way. I'm at the bargaining stage. I feel a little regret, but, this too shall pass. And you could regress back to denial. Like you could wake up one morning and be like, no, this can't be. It isn't happening. It isn't real. And it's in responses. It's in response to how you feel. They're responses to how you're feeling that particular day. The healthiest thing is just to kind of let yourself feel it. Allow yourself to go through that process. The up and down, the back and forth. It's not unnatural. It's not abnormal. It's perfectly normal. And it's not suppressing it and allowing yourself to kind of go through it and feel it is the best way that you're going to heal. It's never going to be okay. Like you're never going to be okay with what happened, but you'll find that place of healing and you'll move into whatever that new normal or that new life is that you're going to live without that person. Depression, and those 5, I talked about depression would be the 4th, and it's normal. It's depressing. You lost somebody that you really cared about. You lost somebody that meant something to you. And it's depressing. So it's not abnormal to feel depressed or to feel withdrawn or to maybe even feel alone. Because, especially depending on how close you and that person were, you could feel alone. They're not there anymore. And that's a lonely feeling that can be depressing. And there's nothing wrong with that depressing feeling. You kind of want to acknowledge it. And work through it. You definitely don't want to suppress it. You don't want to suppress any of your feelings when you're going through something like this. It's best to acknowledge them and work through them. Whatever work through them means, whether it means talking to another family member. I personally go to grief counseling. It's absolutely helped me. Whether it means that you pray about it, whatever it is that helps you. Maybe at some point you do all of the above. But whatever it is, it helps you process it and not suppress it. That's the best way to heal from it. That final stage is acceptance. And acceptance, of course, does not mean that it's okay. It doesn't mean that things are great. It just means that you've accepted it and you are now living in that new normal, whatever that new life looks like. Whatever that new day-to-day is where that person doesn't exist. that's where you are. You've accepted it. And it doesn't mean that you'll never get depressed. It doesn't mean that you'll never get angry. It doesn't mean that you'll never bargain. It doesn't even mean that you'll never be in denial. It just means that you have accepted that there's a new normal. You've recognized that there's a new normal. And you may still have those other responses to how you feel through the course of the day, but you've accepted it for what it is. You've accepted that this grieving process is a part of your new normal now. And I do think that that's where I was Friday, and just kind of feeling like, this is it. Like, it was all just like, I did this for a year. Like, I've done it for a year. I just felt like I had a lot of practice. It wasn't necessarily sad. It wasn't necessarily happy. I wasn't necessarily at peace. It was just another day in this whole process. And, sometimes that's how it is. Like, we talk about grieving in the sense of losing a person, but we can grieve quite a few things. We can grieve the loss of a job. We can grieve, like, if our house burns down, we can grieve the loss of, our family home, our cherished memories. We can grieve those things. That can absolutely happen. So in my case, it is the grief of, or the loss of a loved one. That's what I'm grieving. But you can pretty much grieve anything. And the idea behind it is just to go ahead and grieve. It's a part of the healing process. Grief is not one of those things where you do it and you're done and you get to move on. It's a journey. It's a lifelong journey. It never really goes away, and you spend pretty much the rest of your life going through it and processing it. And it's not to say that every day will be depressing. Of course, every day won't be depressing, or every day won't be an angry day. But it might be a part of the rest of your life, and that's something that's okay to go through and to deal with and to process. So I just want to wrap this up by saying, whatever you're going through, it might not even be grief, but whatever major transition that you're making in life, the best thing to do is to acknowledge it. Acknowledge what it is. Acknowledge how you feel about it, and move from there. You can't fix anything unless you acknowledge it. You can't fix a problem that doesn't exist. So acknowledge the anger. Acknowledge the discontent. Acknowledge that you're tired. You're just tired of it. Acknowledge those feelings. That's the only way that you're really going to truly know how to move forward and how to process it. If you want to know a little bit more about my story, kind of how I got here and exactly what I do, you can actually go to my website at journeywithtvporter.com. There's a free offer, which is a powerful story to help you move beyond feeling stuck, which is actually my story. You can download that and it gets emailed to you immediately. So that's one tool that you can use. This story also has tips in it about how I was able to move forward. So that is a tool that you can use if you are going through a major transition and feel like you could use some guidance, just kind of see what somebody else did. Or you can email me. You can always reach out to me. And, I get to know each other better, but I can get to know your story a little better, what your goals are and what you're working towards. This weekend in particular, I got a little bit worried because one of my goals is to write a book. And in order to finish this book, I said that I was going to do one chapter a month. And April was one of the months that I had to finish chapter 1. And I was not finished chapter 1. I wasn't finished yesterday. So I got a little worried, like, was I going to be able to kind of focus and not just, be okay in the grieving process, but focus enough to finish this goal of getting this book done, or at least getting chapter 1 done, so that I can stay on my timeline. And I actually did. Last night, I found some inspiration and some motivation, and I finished chapter 1 of this book. It's not easy. It's not easy. The transition is not easy, but it is doable. So if you do think that you could use some assistance, definitely reach out to me. That is why I'm here. You guys enjoy your week. Have an absolutely wonderful Monday. May 1st is tomorrow. May 1st is going to be awesome as well. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.